Hey Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve cast. I'm Alberto, and today I'm going to fill you in on all the news surrounding Juventus, including news on Dybala, Demiral, some youngsters like Ranocchia, Fagioli, and Sule, and who is the midfielder that's been offered up to Juventus. All that on Juve today. All right, Juventini, we're going to kick it off with some news on Dybala. Dybala will not play on the weekend versus Barcelona in the Gamper Trophy match, and it's not out of any concerns. It's just out of keeping him in the best possible condition as we get ready to kick off the season against Udinese, and they want him in tip-top shape for that one. So, again, no concerns with Dybala, but he will be maintained for the season start. Other news on Dybala, his agent, Jorge Antunes, is done with the quarantine and should start to set up meetings. There could potentially be one tomorrow, if not on the weekend, to start finalizing the extension with Juventus for Paulo Dybala. So that news will start to follow in the next coming days. Meri Demiral underwent his physical with Atalanta. Deal should be finalized very, very soon. Again, as a reminder, we've covered it a lot here, but the deal finalizes should be around this 2.5 million euros for the loan, 25 million euros for the option to buy should Atalanta choose after next season, and a 15% sell-on clause for Juventus should Atalanta purchase Demiral and then move him along. So there you have it. That's the deal. What it looks like so far. Could be some changes in those numbers, but that's what it seems to be reported by many journalists right now. So that's what it looks like for Mehdi Demiral. In terms of some youngsters, let's talk about Ranocchia. Ranocchia could find himself with the first team probably till the end of August, potentially even around for the starter against Udinese due to the absences that are going to be there in the midfield with injuries and, of course, some bans for the first match. So, yeah, Ranocchia could even be in that Udinese match. Interesting to see. Sule could be playing for the U23s after impressing Allegri in the preseason. He's been a name I've constantly thrown out there when we have our preseason matches as a guy to watch. Very, very fun, young, talented player. So, yeah, it's nice to see this kind of development and that we are going to start, that room for advancement is there. That's a big thing because you want to attract the best young players. And it's nice to see this in motion. Fagioli most likely will go out on loan. This is something that I've been shouting about, and I took a bit of flack for it because everybody loved Fagioli last season and his very, very few minutes that he got with us. But I think he's ready for a loan in order to gauge him a bit better. Rovella, I would have probably kept with the team, but again, that's just me. We are probably going to be moving in the midfield to some other options, but Fagioli will be going out on loan. There's many teams interested. He might be in Serie B for his loan. We'll see what happens. Vicenza seems to be the team really hot on this particular loan, so we'll follow the Fagioli scenario in the next couple weeks here. And now Locatelli. There is no news on Locatelli. The distance is still kind of there. They just can't work out these terms. Juventus, I don't think their offer is going to change too much drastically. They try to incorporate players. They've tried to keep it at this 2-year loan and whatnot. And the reality of it that a lot of people just can't seem to understand, unfortunately, is that there just is no money. And it's being reported by the top guys out there. It's just, it was my fear as it drug on that maybe the financial situation is worse than we actually even know about because we haven't seen anything solid. We have no solid information as to where they truly stand. But this is the sad reality is that the money is just much tighter. This Demiral deal only offers pennies in the grand scheme of things in getting things done. The Romero money, again, it's just it isn't enough. They have ongoing contracts. They have another deal that's going to have money put into it in next season as an ongoing thing. The Morata loan, Chiesa's, all this kind of builds up, and then they have to pay Chiesa's money. The lack of revenue has just caught up. It is what it is. I don't know anymore if it will take place, because I thought eventually the will of the player would take over, and Sassuolo would not want a player who doesn't want to be there around. And I thought eventually they would take a deal that's in front of them in that scenario. But apparently they just may not, and this one might get away, and that's unfortunate. I never thought Locatelli should be hitting Sassuolo's training ground. The fact that he did just really, to me, shows that the situation is much more bleak financially than we even know. So yeah, it's an unfortunate scenario. I'm frustrated, and the longer it goes, I am starting to fade on the confidence. I'm hoping, again, at this point, it's just the will of the player. Hopefully Sassuolo just will eventually take the deal that's in front of them. But you start to wonder where Locatelli sits on this too. Some fans are saying maybe Locatelli is going to start having a bad taste in his mouth about Juventus, but the situation is, outside of the Premiership, the money is tight. That's the way it is. These Premiership, you look at the money they're paying for some of these players that are just not worth it. And it makes things tough all around. It's an unfortunate scenario. We will continue to follow it. I'm hoping for the best. Another meeting set up for the weekend. So let's see after the new contacts if Juve can swing something. But again, it doesn't look like their offer is going to change. And that's the point that starts to worry me now, is that I always thought, okay, well, they'll drop a year, go a 1-year loan, and then a obligation to buy. They even added a sell-on clause of 25% and on their 2-year loan with 25 million to buy, and Sassuolo is still not taking it at this moment. I don't see it getting much better. I thought they could take a year off of the loan. I thought they could eventually just buy outright, but it seems like they just can't. And that's a frustrating part. But I understand why we've reached this point. Alternatives in the midfield. Pjanic's name continues to linger around. And if Locatelli is not going to come, I still don't say Pjanic is the answer, but the list of alternatives is pretty thin. You have Bakayoko apparently as another name, and now Renato Sanches. Jorge Mendes, Cristiano Ronaldo's agent, has offered Renato Sanches to Juventus at a cheaper fee than they would be spending on Locatelli, and I think they're going to be possibly going that route. What do you guys think? What would you think if Renato Sanches is the name? But that's kind of some of the news lingering around there in Juventus world there. Last, certainly not least, we have started to see the breakdown of Inter. Lukaku on the verge of a big deal heading to Chelsea. You hear about the shakeup from coaching to Beppe Marotta to all these guys against it, the sporting directors, the head coach that they just hired, Simone Inzaghi, against this sale. But apparently Suning and them higher up want the capital and don't care, and it's creating a massive amount of issue. Same issue why they lost Conte was the talks of selling these guys, and they know they have lost Hakimi. They're gonna probably lose Lukaku. Big shakeup there. I see a lot of the discussions now are Juventini feeling sympathetic and whatnot. And for me, here's the thing. Of all the teams in Serie A, I am never going to sympathize for that team. I understand the argument that you want Serie A to have the top players, and it's sad when the league loses top players to other leagues. I understand that. However, I also very much hate Inter with every ounce of my being, because they literally try to end the club I love, and that will always take over. So I do not care if they lose absolutely everyone on their roster, and that team could end tomorrow. I have friends that are fans of Inter, whatnot, and I sympathize for them from a fan point of view and level. I also have family members who are Inter fans, believe it or not. I sympathize with them on a fan level, but again, as far as the club goes, what they did, I will never ever forget. So no sympathy from me. In terms of the league needing the top players, otherwise Juve will suffer financially and all this, and Super League and all that. Listen, the league has always had top players or whatnot. It's not going to get better until the government and the FIGC smarten up and stop hindering their own leagues unless it helps their own pockets. Okay, they need to back the teams. The stadiums getting blocked from being built and expansions and all this, they need to stop that. They are hindering. Nobody's stopping Italian football other than the people responsible for Italian football. Okay, Juventus and the Super League, it makes perfect sense why they wanted to go that route. Of course, you would want to go that route. Stop latching on to something that is being prevented from growing that we've seen for years and years and years, and start to create something new or tie into something. And at the same time, cut out a corrupt middleman like UEFA and maximize your profits. So the people that were against that and now are complaining that we're losing top players and whatnot, it's all relative. But the government and the FIGC stopping Italian football from growing, you are going to lose players. Saying that Super League is also not an answer, there has to be an alternative, because you can't latch yourself onto something that is just being hindered. Okay, so something's got to give or whatnot. So Juve, again, in my mind, was absolutely right for trying to go after the Super League thing and look at alternatives outside of Italy, because Italy is going nowhere fast, and that's another sad reality when it comes to their football. You want to catch up to the Prem teams, it's not going to happen unless a team like Juve, Inter, AC, they make a move like that and try to latch on to the top clubs and bring yourself up. And if there was profit sharing and whatnot, that could help the league as well. Anyways, that's my rant as far as today goes. Okay, no to supporting Inter or having any kind of sympathy. All about Juve, always will be. The league, the players, again, that's up to the government, FIGC, to start stepping up and stop preventing them from doing what needs to happen to better the league, okay? And again, let's follow the Mercado the rest of the way. Let's see what happens. I'm going to continue to have faith that we make another positive move, but again, money is tight. I want to get all your thoughts on all the topics we discussed today. And I know you can follow me on Twitter. The handle's there. The discussions are happening, but I'm very, very clear about where I stand as far as feeling bad for Inter. Do you feel the same? Forza Juve, Fino alla fine. We'll talk tomorrow. Ciao.